my gosh. Oh, sorry. Oh, hi. You guys look great. I love the tiaras. Very good job. I'm really embarrassed I didn't bring mine. This is like your one opportunity, right, to wear a tiara. Well, you could wear one at your wedding and your prom, but also when you come to see me. Always welcome to bring your tiara. Okay, so I'm very excited to be here. I'm especially excited to see so many of you. Normally I do a PowerPoint, and I have a lot of visual cues, but since I don't have that tonight, I'm just going to go by my bookmark. And I will be giving these away. You can certainly take one of your own if you would like a visual. The bookmarks have all the books that I have coming out in the next couple months. I don't know why I have so many books coming out in the next couple months. I didn't write them all at the same time, but for some reason they're all coming out at the same time. And they're all with the same publisher. So that makes it more convenient. I'm really excited to be here because this is almost, I think, the 25th anniversary of the Princess Diaries, if we're going to be technical about it. It literally is, right? Well, of the movie. The book came out the year before, so that's technically is not 25. But I want to just talk to you because I get a lot of questions about where I got the idea for the Princess Diaries. I'm going to talk about other books too, just quickly, but for the Princess Diaries, it's really therapeutic for me to talk about it because they did come from a place deep in my heart. When my mom started dating one of my teachers, thank you. It was disgusting. I want you little people to think about your teacher and your mother together and seeing that teacher in his underwear in your house. Because that is what happened to me. Okay? People are always like, oh, how did you always like princesses? No. What happened is my mom started dating one of my teachers. My dad had passed away and it was super sad, right? And I was like, well, she'll never date because she loved my dad. So I'm like, no. She calls me a little while after he died. I would say about a year. She waited a decent amount of time. She's like, Meg, I have some really important news. I'm dating again. I was like, great. And then she said, I'm dating your teacher, who, by the way, was my art teacher, and he gave me a B. All right? I'm still a little mad about it because art is subjective. Like, how do you grade art? You either like it or you don't. He evidently liked it about a B. Okay. Now, here's the thing. I loved writing. I had been writing my whole life. I started writing my first book when I was 7 years old. It's called Benny the Puppy. It's still available for film rights if you want to pick it up. It's about a puppy who his entire family is brutally killed in a freak prairie tornado. Maybe that's why nobody's picked it up. I don't know. It's a little bit of a downer, but he does find like some friendly skunks that adopt him. So when anything bad happens to me, the first thing I do is I reach for a pen and I start writing my feelings because I'm an oldest child. Anybody here an oldest daughter? Oh my God, you know that. You know that. Yes, your mommy is mommy's an oldest daughter and you're an oldest daughter. We have a lot of stress. And one way I found to get rid of the stress is to write. So I've always kept a diary, and people always ask, hey, how do you know teenagers so well? It's like, because I still have my diary from when I was a teenager. Also, I don't have kids. So if something happens, I'm just going to say this, I'm sorry to the oldest daughters, but when you have a kid, there's like actually therapeutic thing that happens in your brain where you forget what it was like to be a teenager and how horrible you were, okay? Well, I haven't had kids, so I remember how horrible I was, and also I kept notes. So that was the birth of the Princess Diaries. Now, I did write my whole life, and I never tried to get published for the longest time because I really thought like if I got rejected by a publisher, it would be the worst thing. I would feel so sad. I would never want to write again. So I never sent my books out or anything. And then my dad died. And that's when I realized the worst thing that can happen to you is not that you send a story to a publisher and they say no. Is that someone you love dies. So as soon as I got home from the funeral, I started sending out books to publishers. And guess what happened? Well, guess. They all got rejected. You didn't see that coming, did you? No, they did. They all got rejected. And so I would get these rejections in the mail, and it didn't hurt. I really thought it was going to hurt, and it didn't, because I was just like, yeah, well, nobody died, so it doesn't. It's fine. So I just kept sending stuff out, but nobody was interested until my mom started dating my teacher, and I started writing about that. And all of a sudden, everybody was like, this is a great story. But nothing happens. It's just this 30-year-old woman who's upset with her mother who's dating her teacher from many years ago. Why is she so upset? It makes no sense. So I was like, fine. I'm going to make the kid 14, and then it'll make more sense. And then I'm going to make her turn out to be a princess. And then we'll see if they will publish it. And guess what? They didn't. They hated that one too. Everyone in Manhattan hated that book. I sent it to every publisher. Finally, I did get an agent, because I did have an agent who did like my books, even though no one else did. And she's still my agent today. Thank you, Laura. Okay. She was like, I think this is good. I'm going to send it out to Hollywood. So she did. And somehow it ended up on the desk of Whitney Houston. Did you guys ever think that I was going to bring up Whitney Houston? Yeah. Whitney Houston loved my book. And she was like, I'm going to make a movie of it. And she went around. She got Disney on board. She got Gary Marshall on board. Her number one woman, who's named Deborah Martin Chase, would call me at my day job, because I had a day job, because I was obviously not getting published. And she would say, hey, Meg, we're making the movie of your book that's not published yet, because still nobody wanted to publish it. But we're going to have to make some changes, okay? Now, if you've read the book versus seeing the movie, you know that there's some differences. And one of the main things people always say to me is, in the book, the character of Mia's dad is alive, okay? In the movies, he's dead. Spoiler. And they call me and they go, Meg, we're going to have to kill the dad. Mostly because it's Disney, and they always kill the dad in Disney movies, right? Sometimes they kill the mom, and sometimes they kill both. But for my book, they were going to kill the dad, and I was like, well, why? What did he do? This is really harsh, because he was based on my own dad, who is dead. So I was a little offended. And then they say, well, we have this actress, and we want this actress to play the grandmother. She has not been in a movie in a long time. So what we want to do is kill the dad and give the grandmother all the dead dad's lines. I was like, who's the actress? And they said, well, it's Julie Andrews. And I said, kill the dad. Kill him. Okay, and here's a fun movie fact that you may not know. If you've seen the movie, there is the character of Mia's dad, and they show him, and he's a very nice man. He's sitting on the bank of a river, I think, and he's writing in his diary. And then later he gives the diary to Mia. That was Anne Hathaway's real dad, played the dad in the movie. Right, okay, he didn't know he was dead. They didn't give him the whole script. They just gave him his part. So I got an email kind of into the filming. He's like, Meg, I'm dead. You got to do something. I was like, I'm sorry, it's Julie Andrews. What do you expect me to do? We're going to give her more lines. So that's why there are some differences between the movie and the book. Another difference is that the director, Gary Marshall, lived in San Francisco. So the book's set in New York, where I live, most of the time, and sometimes I live in Key West. Gary Marshall's grandkids, if you've seen the movie, there's a scene where there's these little girls and Mia stops and gives them the autographs. Those are his real life grandkids. So they lived in San Francisco and he wanted to film, I know. So when they called and they said, we got to move it to San Francisco, I was like, go ahead. I want him to be closer to his little grandkids while he's filming this movie too. While all this was going on, the book finally found a publisher at HarperCollins, yay! And they've been my publisher ever since. So almost all the books I think you're going to see tonight are published by them, and they are very big fans of the Princess Diaries, for which we thank you. And they made these beautiful tiaras that you have. Okay, so that is the Princess Diaries. Now, how did it become a graphic novel? This is another fascinating story I'm sure you're going to want to hear. I got asked to write for DC Comics. Very big honor, but I had no idea how to write a comic or a graphic novel. So they sent me to DC Comics University, which is an actual thing that exists in New York. You can go for like a weekend, and they teach you how to write a graphic novel. May I borrow your graphic novel for 1 second? Thank you. I'll give it right back. So when I went there, I learned that graphic novels are actually written by writers. I had no idea. I thought like an artist just sat down and started drawing the pictures, and it all came together somehow. No, there's a writer involved, and the writer tells the artist exactly what to draw, okay? So each page that you see in your graphic novel has multiple panels. The writer writes out each panel, like panel 1, panel 2, exactly what's happening in each panel. And it's up to the artist to figure out, maybe there might need to be more panels or less panels and where the panels go. But what's inside the panels are descriptions of the characters, what the location is, and what the dialogue is. And so you do that. Every page is one page for a script. It's just like a screenplay. That was so cool to me. I loved it. So I was like, I'm going to do more. You know what I'm going to do? After I got done with DC, and they kept asking me to write stories about their characters, who were great. I did Black Canary, wonderful character. But I was like, hey, I have an idea. Let's do one about a baby who solves crimes. And they said no. I was really mad because I had this idea about a baby who solves crime. Because all of you, I know that you know babies and you see the babies and they're not talking too much, or if they are, you can't understand what they're saying. You know that they're secretly solving crimes? Yeah, they're watching you because nobody pays attention to the baby, but the baby pays attention to everything you're doing and is silently judging you. And I saw this baby one time about like 10 years ago in a hotel, and she was wearing this little pink fedora with a rose on it, and she went strutting across the dining room like she really was on a mission. And I realized then it's because she was going to solve a crime. But we couldn't understand what she was saying, so I thought, if I have a character then who speaks baby, maybe she was born with the miraculous gift of speaking baby, she would be able to translate for the baby. So that was the idea I came up with for a graphic novel. And DC Comics said, no, we have enough superheroes. None of them are babies. We're not interested in that. But guess who was? HarperCollins. Yay. So that is a book that's coming out in September. It's called The Detective Baby. The Detective Baby babysitter, Jenny, speaks baby. She doesn't want to. Babies don't really have that much interesting to say unless they're solving a crime. But she speaks it, and she gets pulled in against her will to babysit for a baby detective. Okay? Thank God we got that one out of the way. All right, we've got 2 more to go. I also write about witches, okay? I've been writing about witches for a while. In my family, there's kind of a rumor that the oldest daughter, the 7th oldest daughter of the 7th generation, has special powers, okay? So think about your own family. Try to figure out which one of you might be the witch, one of you is. It's not me. I kept trying to do spells. Every time that it was going to snow, I would do a spell like snow day, no school, never worked. So I started writing about people who did have that ability. And so that book, The Magic We Made, will be out in August. The Detective Baby will be out in September. And then, oh my gosh, there's one more. It will be out in December. It's called Kissing Cowboys, okay? It's a YA romance. People are like, wait, so who does the kissing? Is it the cowboys, or is there like a girl who kisses the cowboys? And the answer is both, okay? It's a new era. We know what cowboys get up to. All right. Thank you. Now I know what you all want to know. You're like, I don't care about the books. I want to know about the movie, the 3rd Princess Diaries movie. Is it happening? Yes, it is happening. This is true. Yeah, so they were letting me see the scripts, and I loved them so much, and I was blabbing about them everywhere. And then I got, not in trouble, but it was politely told to me that I would not be getting any more scripts, because apparently I was talking a little too much. And what I had said, and it is true, of the last script that I read, every single person that was in the first Princess Diaries movie comes back for the 3rd movie in the script that I read, which is very exciting because you get to see the whole cast like 20 years later, 25 years later. And that is true of the script that I read. Now, have all of those people signed contracts? That part no one has told me. I don't know. I hope so. We know Anne Hathaway's involved for sure. She is having her baby in January, and then hopefully we're going to start filming right after that. And she can bring the baby to the set. We don't care. It's going to be good. Exactly. Thank you. But I don't know who else is going to be in it. But it's going to be, what I read, it's going to be super fun. So I know you probably have a lot of questions. Like you want to know about the premiere when I went to see the first movie for the first time way back in 2001. And we can talk about that. But before we do that, I want to tell you one thing about writing. This is a craft, okay? When you're writing a book and you're writing about people that you know, because you draw inspiration from your own life, change their names. Because it might get published, and then they're going to know how you feel about that if you didn't change their names. But if you just disguise them a little, just give them a different name, and like if they wear glasses, don't have the character that's based on them wear glasses, or the opposite, then you're going to be okay, because that happened to me. I did not expect many of my books to be published, and then they did, and I forgot to change the name. So let that be a lesson to you, because I got a letter after the Princess Diaries movie came out from Lana. Do you guys? Yeah. Lana, I didn't change her name. I never thought that would get published, and certainly not that she would read it. And she didn't read it, so don't worry. She saw the movie. I know. Okay. So after the movie came out, I got a letter from Lana. And it said, "Dear Meg, I saw the movie of your book. And by the way, she didn't read the book. She saw the movie. If someone I knew had written a book, I would read the book, but no. Not Lana. No. Lana didn't read the book. Perhaps it's just as well. But I thought the letter was going to say, Dear Meg, I saw the movie of your book, and I realized you put me in the book, and it's probably because I traumatized you throughout our school years because I was so mean to you and all of your friends, and I just want to apologize." No, it did not say that at all. And then I was really worried it was going to say, "I am scheduled a meeting with my lawyer, and I'm going to sue you." No, it didn't say that either. She goes, "Dear Meg, I saw the movie of your book. I did not know that you were a princess." So, yeah. So it turns out, this is what I always like to tell people, if there's somebody being super mean to you in your life, okay, and you're like, "Gosh, I can't believe this person is so mean, what is their problem?" They may not be mean. They may just be really dumb. Okay? So keep that in mind. All right. I know that's really hard to believe, but believe me, the older you get, you'll be like, everything's explained now. Okay, who has a question before we go on? Go ahead. You can ask me anything.
Why don't we start all the way in the back?
Oh, thank you.
Sound good?
I have a question. For the movie, what is it streaming on?
Oh, that's a very good question. Well, you can see it on Disney, obviously, Disney Plus, but it's often on Freeform. But if you really want to download it, yeah, you got to go to Disney Plus. But very good question for anyone. And there's a second movie, too, that I had nothing to do with. So don't ask me, but I did see it. So I actually told Gary Marshall I thought it was really good. And he's dead now, so I can say, no, I'm kidding. I said it was really good. It's not based on my books at all, but I said I really liked it. And he wrote me the nicest thank you note. So it's really sweet. So I have a nice note from Gary Marshall that I treasure. So yes, please watch the movie. I like to think of it as there's two Princess Diaries universes. There's the movie, which is great, and then there's the books, which are right. Let's have another question.
What was probably the most surprising or exciting part of revisiting the original novel for the Princess Diaries as you prepared for the graphic novel? And yes, we are 22 days away from the 25th anniversary officially.
Oh!
I only know that because it's also my wedding day.
Oh!
I had Princess Diaries themed wedding.
Congratulations! That's so sweet. Okay. I completely forgot the question because you put in the part about the wedding and you wanted to know, what was the most exciting and surprising part of
Revisiting the novel.
Oh, revisiting for the graphic novel. Oh, sure. Okay, so we had a lot of discussions about this because the graphic novel is set in 1999, which is when the original novel is set. And the reason that we did that was because there are actually plot elements that occur that have to do with being alive in the 90s and trying to use the internet. Okay, and you have to use dial-up. And so Mia is frequently calling her best friend, Lily, and not being able to get through because in the olden times, if you were on the computer, you couldn't be on the phone and the computer at the same time because the phone used the computer to, yeah. So then there was some concern that maybe the children of today would not understand that it was too complicated and it would go over their heads. And I said, have you heard of some books called Harry Potter, where there is this amazing magic system that children seem perfectly capable of understanding? I think they're going to understand dial-up. That's just me. Oh, did you hear what my mouth went like that? Okay, now we're going to tell an Anne Hathaway story. Okay, I'm sorry. I know we should stay on track. But Anne Hathaway did the books on tape for the Princess Diaries for the first 3 books. And that was when I first met her, as I was invited to go to the studio to see her reading the book out loud. And when I got there, I had no idea what it takes to do a book on tape, and I don't know if you guys know, but I'm going to give you an example. So she was standing in a little booth, like about this big actually, and she was speaking into the microphone. She was reading my book, and she was wearing her pajamas because she was really tired and she had a pillow, and they were making her drink Rose's lime juice right out of the bottle, because when you go like that with your peas, it's called popping your peas. The lime juice dries your mouth out. Poor thing! And I was shocked, and I said, gosh, she doesn't have to, it's okay, she doesn't have to read the whole book. And they were like, yes, she does. That's why we're paying her. And I said, well, she doesn't have to read every word. They said, yes, she does. That's what an audible book is. I felt so bad for writing so many P words, but okay, who has a question? Yes.
Do you have a cat? Because
Oh my gosh.
of Bat Louie.
That's such a sweet question. Do I have a cat? Bat Louie is based on a real cat. His name is Bat Henry. He's my friend's cat. He actually he's no longer with us because he was quite elderly when I first wrote about him in the 90s, and now he has gone to cat heaven. However, he had a great life. He lived to be about 20. And I just want to say he really did eat socks. So if you left your sock out, Bat Henry would eat it. He would eat anything. And so frequently he had to have surgery to have socks removed from his intestines. So I put that into the Princess Diaries books because I thought that was so funny. But yeah, I don't currently have a cat. My last cat, who was also an orange cat, died from a horrible jumping accident, which I didn't know could happen to cats, but she was very adventurous. That's in peace now. And seeing if the cat distribution system really works, because I've heard that if you want a cat will show up. But so far, no cats have shown up. Well, there is a cat that showed up, but I don't want him. And I'm afraid that is how the cat distribution system works. He's a boy and a stray, and he comes to my house every day because I feed him. Okay. His name's Buddy. He's very cute, but he has no social skills. Okay. Who else has a question? Hi.
So I wanted to ask, obviously we all love the adaptation of the Princess Diaries, but you have wrote so many amazing books and series. If you had to pick another one to get adapted, which one would it be?
Oh.
I, for example, think the Airhead series would be so cool.
The Airhead series, yeah. As like all writers, I believe all of my books should be made into movies and streaming series for the streaming person over there. Yeah, so I don't care, basically. And there is an old saying that if you want your book, if you want to sell it to Hollywood, there's only one way to do it, because people do get upset. They're like, I sold my book and they made changes, and people will get upset about that. The only way that you can not have changes made your book when you sell it to Hollywood is to not sell it to Hollywood. And Ernest Hemingway lived for many years in Key West, so I know a lot of Ernest Hemingway trivia. And the one, I'm not sure if this is true, but somebody says that Ernest Hemingway, his advice to writers was, if you want to sell your book to Hollywood, take your book, drive to the border of California, and lay it very gently over the border, get the check, and drive away. Just drive as fast as you can and never think about it again, because if you do, you'll go crazy, because it's so impossible to understand. Like, I had a book that was made into a movie called Avalon High. It's a Disney movie too. And they completely changed the ending, and they warned me. They didn't let me read the script beforehand, because I'm sure they knew that I would be like, what did you do? But when I saw the movie on TV, I was like a little upset, because they really did change it. And I realized that was my fault. I should not have sold the rights. So I'm more scared of what would happen if they did try to adapt. For instance, one of my books, the Mediator series, right now is with Amazon Prime, and Amazon Prime is great. They do a really good job. But they only bought the first book in the series, which is about 200 pages long, and they want to make 8 episodes out of it. And I'm like, dudes, what? I mean, how are you going to get 8 episodes out of 200 pages? They're going to add stuff that I didn't write, is the answer to that. So that's kind of concerning, but also fun. Like, it can be really fun to see somebody else's interpretation of your work. So that's why I really enjoyed doing the graphic novel, because I got to see Bethany Crandall is the artist. I got to see her interpretation of what she thought that Genovia and stuff looked like. I did tell her in great detail, probably too much detail, of how I thought it should look, and she did a really good job of kind of, siphoning out all of my craziness and putting in what she thought was really important, and that's why I think the graphic novel is really successful. So, wow, that was a long answer. I hope that helped. The Airhead series is really funny. Okay, I probably shouldn't tell you guys this because there's kids here, but something that's really funny to me is marijuana is legal in New York. And if you go to a dispensary, you have to show, like maybe you just want some ointment to put on your terribly sore fingers because you write so much, right? Which is why I go there. But you have to show ID, right? So I show my ID. I cannot tell you the number of times I've showed my ID at the dispensary, and the young woman behind the counter has said, there's an author with your same name. She wrote my favorite book, Airhead. And I'm like, oh my God, you work in a weed store and you love the book Airhead. I love that for you. I just had to share. Okay, who else has a question? I'm just going to point at this little girl because she's really raised her hand a lot, and I know she has a lot to say, and then we'll pass it back. Go ahead.
Is Genovia a real place?
It's real in our heart. And if you come up to get your book signed, I actually have visas to Genovia for you and your family that you will be admitted. Good luck finding a flight because I've not been able to, but it is definitely real in my head. So, and we. It is based on a real. I'm sweating so much, you guys, because I'm that age. I keep telling my husband, I'm like, we need all new ACs, and he's like, no, I don't. You do. It is based on the country of Monaco, which is a principality on the border. It's like between Spain and France. And I went there as a little girl. And probably, how old are you? You. How old are you?
I'm 7.
Yeah, I was 7 when I went there. And it was really exciting because not a lot of Americans had gone to Monaco. And we were there the day that Richard Nixon, who was president at the time, because I'm that old, had given the country of Monaco some little rocks from the moon, because we had just landed on the moon. And so he gifted all these little countries, just like it was a speck. But they were so excited to have gotten these moon rocks that and we were the first Americans to show up at the Palace Museum. And they're like, come in, look at our moon rocks that weren't even on display yet. So it was really exciting. And I guess that made a huge impression because then I started making up stories about this made-up country called Genovia. That's what I've been doing ever since. Okay, next question.
Hi. It's
Yes.
me here.
Oh, hi.
Hi. Oh my gosh. Firstly, I have to say that you're my favorite author. This is an absolute dream come true. And yeah, I think for my question, I want to ask. So when you started writing, was it something that came naturally to you, or you had to spend time to just learn about the process? And how long does it usually take you to write a book?
Yeah, that's a great question. No, it did not just come naturally. I think everybody who wants to be a writer has to do trial and error and try things. I didn't understand about paragraphs for a really long time until one of my teachers was finally when somebody is starting to talk, you should give them their own new paragraph, and that was very important information that I have ADD in case you didn't notice. Somehow I didn't absorb that information in school. So I just practiced all the time, and I maybe had friends read it, and often then my friends did not like my writing and would tell me so. And so I stopped giving them anything to read. And but when I got to college, I really thought I was going to be a writing major, creative writing major. And I've told this story before, but I'll just tell you really quickly. I met a guy at a party the first week of college. He was older. And he said, hey, what's your major? And I said, I'm going to be a creative writing major because I love to write. And he was like, oh, God. We're going to Indiana University, which is where my dad taught, so I got to go for free. So my parents could not tell me what to take. I could take whatever I wanted because there was no student debt to pay back. So I went crazy. I signed up for every kind of art class and writing class. But this guy said, look, I'm a creative writing major, and at Indiana University, they will suck the love of writing right out of you if you're a creative writing major. And I was like, oh my God. So I dropped all the English classes. I dropped everything that had to do with the human language. And I did not take any writing, but I took an occasional writing workshop, and I would get feedback. And often the feedback was very negative because nobody in my stories ever died or had anything really bad happen to them, except they'd go to the mall and the cute security guard would hit on them. And I was like, that's a good story. But people in my class did not agree. So what happened was that after that, I graduated with a completely useless degree in art. I wasn't even good enough to illustrate my own books. Moved to New York to be an artist, and I met that guy again, and we got married. And he's like, do you still write? Remember when you were all into writing? And I was like, yes, I write all the time. But I didn't take creative writing because you told me that the love of it would be sucked out of me if I did. And he was like, I was drunk. You need to start sending those books out because you have a very large bill from Payless. I was really into shoes. But I still wouldn't send my stuff out because I was too scared of getting rejected. But then my dad died, and that's when I started really trying seriously to get published. And it took many books. I have like a whole series of books you guys will never read that got rejected. Like I have a whole series about an Indiana high school basketball coach who solved crimes. Very into detectives. Now I've got a baby. I'm happy, the baby detective. Okay, who else has a question? I'm sorry if I'm stunning you with so much information spoken so quickly.
Are the other novels going to be made into graphic novels?
Oh, that's a good question. Are the other novels going to be made into graphic novels? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how this one does. I do know that they get a little racy as the series goes on, and I'm not sure how well that's going to translate to children's graphic novels. This one even is on the edge of being a little racy. So, yeah, there's a lot of kissing that follows in the next 12 books. Yeah, I don't think so. We'll see. We'll see. They would have to be put in a different section, maybe. So, no, but we are doing a baby that solves crimes, in case that didn't come through. That one, no sexual content whatsoever. Lots of poop, though. That baby, I just want to tell you one quote that I came up with the other day. You know, in New York City is made up of two equal but separate groups of people. The criminals who commit crimes and the babies who solve them, okay? I'm just writing their stories, that's all. Okay, who else? Who has the mic? Yes. Oh, it's broken. Just yell it out, yell it out.
How did you come up with the idea for Josh to drop Lana and go to Mia?
Oh, this is a very technical question. Okay, so in the book, yes, there is a boy that likes Mia, but he's dating Lana, who we've all heard is a very mean person. And that boy drops Lana and he starts trying to go for Mia. That never happened to me in real life, okay, because I'm not really a princess. But Josh is the type of person who he's only interested in girls who can make him look better. And so by dating a princess, he thinks that he looks really great and he's going to get all these cool connections and stuff because he's a jerk. Okay, and there was a boy who had the locker next to mine who had a girlfriend, and every time I would go to the locker, they'd be making out and I would have to stand there, much like is pictured in the opening pages, I think, of the books. That happens to me. So that is based on real life. I'm happy to tell you that after graduation, that boy, who was kind of the model for Josh, went to Indiana University, where I was going, right? And I was walking down the street on campus, and I saw him. He was the cutest boy in my high school, but he joined a fraternity. And do you know what they do in fraternities that we can talk about here in front of children? They drink beer. So he drank so much beer, he was completely bloated. Also, I think he stopped working out. And so he comes up to me, and finally, he notices me. And he's like, Meg, oh my God, do you go to the school? And I said, yes, I do. And he said, you should come to the frat house. And I was like, oh, my dreams have come true. No. I walked on. So that was my Josh moment. Okay? I'm sorry. I wish it was more exciting, but I still treasure that memory. His name was not Josh. I did change his name. So I can tell this story, and he will never know who I'm talking about. He's a realtor now. Okay. That's why I don't go on Facebook, because if I were on Facebook, I would just be looking them up all the time, being like, what bad thing has happened to him now? That's terrible. But what's kink is my karma, right? No, karma is my... What's the Chaperone song where she sings about how she loves when bad things happen to her exes? That's so mean. I love it. Okay, I know you all do too. You're like, oh, that's what happened to him. Yeah, okay, tiny person. I see your arm. This better be a good question. It better involve cats. Come on.
When is the movie coming out?
That is such a good question. I do not know. I'm sorry, I don't know that answer. But I know that they're going to start filming fairly soon. and hopefully it'll be out right after that. But it'll probably take them a while to do, the beautiful. Actually, they're filming on location. I already had a discussion about that. They're filming in Czech, the country. They went castle shopping in Czech to see if they could find a good Genovian, because they couldn't get tickets to Genovia, apparently. So we'll see, but it's going to be lovely. Okay, who else wants to know something?
Time for 3 more.
Ooh, 3 more. Okay. Okay, perfect. And you can always ask me questions when you come up to get your book signed. And I won't tell such long stories like I did tonight. I'll be brief. Okay.
Which book was your favorite?
Oh, that is a very good question. Which book was my favorite? I have a favorite, and your mom has a favorite kid, and she's not going to tell you which one is her favorite. And your favorite kid kind of changes. Like, I was not the favorite kid for many years, and then I became the favorite kid after I wrote The Princess Diaries. So my brother is extremely upset about that, because he was like 6'8" basketball star, and then all of a sudden, I'm sorry, Princess trumps 6'8" basketball star. He's never gotten over it. So no, I won't tell what my favorite book is, because it's never going to be the one that you want it to be. I've been to many book signings and asked authors that exact question, and they always say some weird book that I hate. And I'm like, ugh, I don't like that author anymore. So, but truthfully, the book that you like the best is always the one you're working on now, or it should be. Because if you don't really like the book you're working on now, you're never going to finish it. So I really love the book I'm writing now, which is, you might be surprised to hear this, it's Detective Baby number 4. It's the best book I ever wrote. Because you have to feel that, or you'll never get done. Writing a book is really hard. And especially if you're not getting paid, like to sit there and to work on it every day. I do have one author friend, and we have a rule. I'm going to tell it to you guys because you look cool, and I think you're going to understand. We have to write 5 pages every day by 5 o'clock, or we have to donate $5 to Donald Trump, okay? Thank you, the one person who laughed. That information is public, so that is really strong motivation to get it done. Because you don't want your friends to see. Okay. So we so often have not finished our 5 pages by 5 o'clock that we made the rules, we changed them. So like you can delete 5 pages and that counts. So far we've never had to donate. But it hasn't always been, we've been doing this for years. And before Donald Trump, it was all sorts of different people that we had to donate money to. Sarah Palin was a big one for a long time. Like, no, not Sarah Palin. John McCain, no, we're like, he wasn't so bad. Well, no, he was. Okay. Sorry, all authors are political. We can't help it. Okay, who else? Yes.
Who do you like to read?
Who do I like to read? Thank you. That is such a good question. I love to read all the books by my friends. Obviously, I already mentioned Rachel Vale. I got this bracelet from Julie DeVillers, who just wrote a great book called Meet Me at Wonderland. That's a YA that's really cute, totally kid-friendly. But I really like to read brutal mysteries with serial killers, because I don't write that. And so I like to read stuff that's totally different from what I write. So if there's anything by like Michael Connelly, I love The Lincoln Lawyer and Bosch and all those guys, just the gorier the better. And it's horrifying because I don't write that. And I really don't want to, but I like reading it. So I know that doesn't help. Okay.
Maybe Anne Hathaway's baby could play your detective baby.
Maybe Anne Hathaway's baby could. Oh, thanks for putting that in my head. I think that it's going to be animated though, because obviously. I don't know, but they could record her like in Bluey where they use real kids' voices. I love that show. Shout out to Bluey. Okay, one more. Oh, sorry, who's got the mic?
Do you have a particularly endearing or like inspiring fan interaction that you've had? There's a lot of
Aww.
really cute questions that we've had today, and I'm curious if you've had one over the years that's really stuck with you.
It wasn't. Yes, I mean I love meeting all my readers. I think it's so great. The one that sticks out in my head just right here off the bat is somebody who made a paper mache life-size Fat Louie and brought it to one of my signings. I think it was somewhere like in England, or I'm trying to think where it was. It was not in America that this happened, and so I went to so much trouble to figure out how to ship that thing back to my because it wouldn't fit in the suitcase because it was life-size. It was a very large paper mache cat. And I'm not saying like I want gifts, because I don't need gifts. But when you bring me a gift that is a life-size paper mache cat, I am gonna go do whatever and I still have that cat. There's one other thing that happened, which was there was a book I wrote called All American Girl. Some of you might know it. And in the book, the boy gives the girl a protective helmet because there's a bird that keeps attacking her head, okay? He gives her this, like, basically army helmet, and she paints daisies on it, or somebody does. I can't remember because it's been so long. Somebody gave me that. They made it, and they gave it to me at a book signing. And I was like, thanks. But then I had this giant helmet with that I also had to figure out how to get home. So here's my advice. If you love an author, they would love to get just like a drawing. Just give them drawings of their characters. They would love that. Don't, if you make them something that's very large, they won't be able to fit it in their suitcase because they're just visiting. Thank you guys so much. You have been amazing. And if you have more questions, you can come up and ask me.